pieces, blocks, bingo slots. Hello everyone and welcome in. I am so excited for today's video. We are doing our 25 in 25. Now this is actually a year-long book challenge that you have. Since there's 25 days, we get a bingo card. Now this was kindly made by Bris over at Four Paws in a Book. This is my first time doing this, so I am super excited. Today I have the bingo board that Bris kindly made for everyone. Now you probably can somewhat see it. I don't know if it's the best or anything. I printed it out on blue. It made it pop more, so that's what I did. We're gonna go through every single one of these pieces, blocks, bingo slots. I don't know what to call them. I don't know. We'll go through each of these prompts in the boxes. There we go. And we're gonna pick out a book for each of these. Now I kind of have an idea of things that I really want to prioritize, but these are books that we're going to have to read in 2025. If we don't read these 25 books, we are unhauling them at the end of 2025. So that's going to give me more motivation to get to these and really complete this challenge, because I really want to challenge myself. I really want to have some motivation to do this. We are also doing another reading challenge, but that'll be announced next month, so stay tuned for that. Now I did print out the prompts with the explanation next to each of them. There was kindly like a guide made as well explaining each role and the prompts in them, so that was very helpful. Let's start with the rules. So it's more of a personal challenge, so make it work for you. No doubling up on prompts, one book for one prompt. Makes sense. You can swap out one prompt on the board. You can replace it with either another prompt that is on here and complete that prompt twice, or you can replace it with a mood read, which I like that option as well. And like I said, it's a whole year-long thing, so January 1st to December 31st. And yeah, and there is an announcement video over on Bris' page as well, and I will link it down below, so that way you can go check that out if you want to join in on the fun. Now I am going to make this more of like a my TBR challenge, so we're gonna do strictly books that are on our physical TBR that I have here. So that way we can kind of also just work on our physical TBR and take those down. I don't want to have to order new books to do this, pretty much. So yeah. Okay, so the first prompt is a 2025 release. Now this one, we have to order obviously because it's not 2025 yet, but I decided to go with a book that I already had pre-ordered that's coming out in 2025. A lot of people are looking forward to this book, and it is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. Oh my goodness. I actually have Iron Flame on my TBR for December, so I am planning on getting to that after the current read that I have going on right now. So I'm very excited for Onyx Storm. I want Iron Flame fresh in my head going into Onyx Storm, so I've been putting it off. So I just know this book is going to be amazing. I pre-ordered it months ago. I remember finishing Fourth Wing and being like, oh, I'm ordering that right now. So that is going to be book number 1 on our 2025 TBR, and I just know I'm going to get to that really fast. That one's not going to be a problem at all. The next one is a one-word title, and it says A, an, and the do count as a word. So you have to be very particular on this one. And I think I have an idea of what I'm gonna do. One second. So we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I love Ali Hazelwood. I have read 3 Ali Hazelwood books so far, and all of them I've just loved. So you know, it's 3 for 3 for me, so I just know at this point she's an auto-buy author for me, and I just love her so much. I know this is vampire and werewolf, so I'm excited for this. This is different than her usual like rom-com-y stuff, like science-y rom-com-y stuff. That's what I've been reading, or just like, I don't know, sophisticated rom-coms is what I'm gonna call it. They're so good. So I'm excited for this. I think this is just gonna be just as good as any of her other books. The next prompt involves travel. So it says this can be open to interpretation, and the travel doesn't have to be the main part of the story. It can be a road trip, traveling to another country, maybe even time travel. Now, I actually have the perfect book for this, and I think it's on a cruise ship. So okay, so we have Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban. So this is actually set on a cruise, and actually what happens is her ex-boyfriend and best friend, I guess, end up betraying her, and they're on the same cruise, but then slowly people start missing and everything, and I think she's getting framed for it, so she has to try to clear her name on this cruise and everything. So I think that's going to be very interesting. I remember buying this and it being like on my radar at the time. Like I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I'll read this during like fall, like mystery thriller time, and I just never ended up picking it up, but now we have a reason to, and I think this one's going to be a fun one too. So next we have Number in the Title. And I actually know exactly what I want to do here. It's actually on, it was on my 10 before the end, but I'm not going to get to it. So I want to push it over to this TBR to make sure I read it in 2025. And that is Binding 13 by Chloe Wash. So many of y'all have told me to read this, and I promise I am getting to it. I just haven't yet. I just know like when I get into this series, I'm going to go deep into it. I want to read the books back to back to back, I think, for this, and do kind of like a reading vlog, but I know it's going to be an emotional journey, and that's why I've just been putting it off, and it's just time that I buckle down and read this. I know it's a rugby romance. I think we've been over this before. Yeah, a rugby romance. So everyone loves this series though, and I'm ready to experience it. I'm ready. Next we have A Cover By, which is pretty much what it means. A book you bought because of the cover, not really knowing like what it's about. You were just like, oh, and you got it. And I have been there quite a few times, but there's one in particular that I got actually back in November, and I've just had my eye on it, and I've needed a reason to pick it up anyways. So Hucked by Helena Hunting. I think that's how you say that. But actually I saw the cover and then I saw the sprayed edges, and I know nothing about this except for it's a hockey romance, and I was like, yes, I really want this. So it was just an impulsive buy. I went there for Christmas books, and so much for leaving with Christmas books, because this immediately became like Instagram. I'm gonna get this no matter what. I believe based on the back, hockey romance, one night stand, but then leads to something more, I guess. So I really don't know much about it at all. Like I said, impulse buy. Blame it on the sprayed edges mainly, because this is just beautiful. Like if every single paperback looked this gorgeous, I'd be buying all the books. It would be worse than how I am right now. Next is a seasonal book. So it's like a summer book that takes place at a summer camp, or a what they say, a Christmas book obviously during the winter, or like a mystery thriller set in Halloween, you know, or you know, just something. You know what a seasonal read is. Why am I trying to explain this? I don't even know. Okay, let me just grab my book. Let me grab it. Okay, for this one I'm gonna do Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is actually a summer camp romance, and so it's another one night stand, and then they end up working at the same summer camp together. I think this is gonna just be like a summertime read for me, you know, late night. I don't know, I love summertime for making s'mores and everything, and the sprayed edges on this just make me think of like all snuggly and cozy and everything. I know the leaves make you think fall, but I just, summer camp, so we gotta read it during the summer. So this will be one that I'm excited for. I keep meaning to pick this up too. I do, because I loved Icebreaker. I have stated that many times on this channel. I love Icebreaker. I can't help it. Don't judge me for it, but I loved it. So I know like I'm going to love this too, because everyone says this is better than Icebreaker. So I'm like, ugh. I just need to dive into it, and I just haven't yet. But now I have to. Otherwise I have to get rid of it, and who wants to get rid of this? Not me. Not me. Now we have an LGBTQ representation, so we can do either like the main characters or a book written by an LGBTQ author. So they give you the option of either of those, which I really like because I'm trying to stick to my physical TBR, so this gives me the option of either. So I actually have One Last Stop by Casey Quinston. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I am so sorry. But I actually found this at Barnes & Noble. It is the signed edition and it is the collector's edition. But the artwork inside is why I ended up buying it. I was like, oh, and I opened it up and I saw this artwork and I was like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely gorgeous. So it was just kind of an impulsive buy, but I don't regret it. I don't know anything about it and I'm gonna keep it that way. I think it's gonna make it even better, but I am very excited for this. Favorite author's new release. Now, as soon as I heard this, I was like, oh my goodness, I know exactly what I'm gonna pick for this. We have The Striker by Anna Hong. Now, I am a giant Anna Hong fan. We all know this as well. I love the Twisted series so much. You know, it's what got me into reading. I have a tattoo for that series. It's just a very emotional attachment to me. It has a piece of me. So this is actually about a character who we hear about in the Twisted series. So it is the first book in her new series. It's going to be sports romance. So this is soccer for us, but football in the UK and everything. So this is very exciting. I don't know much about it except for I know the character, obviously the male character in this. And I think she is a ballerina. So I'm very interested in this. I haven't picked it up because it is kind of thick. Her thickest book that I have read was Twisted Lies in the Twisted series, and it wasn't my favorite because I felt like there was just so much in there that didn't need to be in there. I felt like the book could have been like a little shorter and still just as good. So we'll see how this one is though. I am excited to get into this story and explore this couple. The next prompt is a hype book, you know, a book that you see often, a book that you feel like everyone has read, a book that gives you FOMO. And as soon as I heard FOMO, I was like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what series, unfortunately, because it's a series. It's the first book in a series, and it's also on my 10 before the end, and I'm not going to get to it before the end. I'm so sorry. I'm just not, but I will move it into my 2025 TBR. And my book bestie Haley's gonna love this because she's been on me about reading this series. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. Okay, I know. I feel like I'm the only one who hasn't read this book series. Everyone keeps telling me to read Throne of Glass and they're just like, oh yeah, I forgot you haven't read ACOTAR. And I'm like, oh, you rub it in my face, why don't you? Well, you just rub it in my face. And I'm honestly scared. I'm just scared of this book series. I'm scared of not understanding things and all the different characters. And it's a bigger fantasy book than what I have read. I haven't read very much fantasy, and the fantasy I have read was very mild. So it's like, this is such a big commitment into a fantasy world, into a series. And so I've just been scared. But I do want to read Throne of Glass. That seems more up my alley. But you have to read this first, and I understand that, and I'm too OCD not to. So we gotta force ourselves to do this eventually. The next prompt was one that I struggled with. So it's Color of the Year, which in 2025, I guess the color of the year has been announced as Mocha Mousse. I struggled with this because I have like nothing Mocha Mousse at all. So I did like an off-brand Mocha Mousse is what we're gonna do. Okay? Okay, don't blame me. Don't blame me. We're doing what we have to do. So I have A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Now I'm going with the Mocha Mousse as these vines and everything that's on it, you know, it's kind of like an off-brand Mocha Mousse. Kinda, you know, we're going with it, okay? I don't know anything about this except for it's Hades and Persephone. That's about all I know. I think this is the series where it tells from one POV and then the next book tells from the other POV. I think it's a 6-book series. I could be wrong though, but I'm just going into this blind pretty much. I don't know anything about it. It wasn't on my radar, but we needed something around Mocha Mousse. And this is literally pretty much the closest thing I have. I kid you not. I have nothing even brown. So this is what we're working with. So that's gonna be the Color of the Year book. Now we have a POC author, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, I had to do some research on this as well because I wasn't sure what books I had for this, and luckily I had 2 options on my TBR. Okay, so we have Air by Sabaa Tahir, I think is how you say it. I'm So sorry if in any of my videos I say someone's name's wrong. I'm trying. I'm trying my best. But we have Air. I actually got this from Fairy Loot. I read the description about this and this caught my attention more. My other option was going to be To All the Boys I've Loved Before, but that's like a 3-book series that I'm just not ready to go into, while this is going to be a duology, I believe. Or maybe it's a standalone. I don't know. I just know if this is a duology, the second book isn't out yet, so I can pace myself. And it just sounded really, really interesting and more like adventurous, and I've been into my like adventure fantasies, so I just think I'm really gonna enjoy this a lot. Our next prompt is a novella, and I was like, oh, what am I gonna do for a novella? And then I remembered I just got this book literally last month, and it's the perfect novella. It's The Housemaid's Wedding by Frida McFadden. I actually have finished the Housemaid series. I've read all 3 books. I'm so proud of that. And then she dropped this novella, and it is super short. It's literally like 70 something pages. It's so short, and it's just gonna be a nice like in between like break, but still count as a book. So I'm all about that. So this is gonna be like the easiest book on my 2025 TBR. Okay, and this next prompt is a 5-star prediction, and I'm excited for this one because as soon as I read 5-star prediction, I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly the book that I want to read like ASAP. Is on like my top priority of 2025 because the next book comes out next year as well, and I just know I'm going to love this one so much that I'm gonna want to jump into the next one. Okay, that is Heartless Hunter by Kristen, and I'm not even gonna try to say this last name because I know I'm going to mess it up. But this is Witch Hunter, I think Fake Dating, or it may be Fake Dating or Marriage of Convenience. I can't remember which one, but I don't care. I'm okay with either, but I just know this is just right up my alley. I'm going to love this. Everyone seems to like this and enjoy this book. I know I'm going to devour this and just be ready for the second book. This next prompt is called Comped, which is pretty much like when a thing promotes their book but also uses like for fans of such and such book, or you know, for fans of Fourth Wing. So I actually had to do like some research. I had to pull up like on Amazon the description and see like what popped up, and so the one that I finally found after going through a lot of books was The Serpents and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. They compared this to Hunger Games with vampires, so I was like, oh, that counts, it's compared to Hunger Games. So this is actually on my 10 before the end. I'm not gonna get to it as well. I know I'm terrible. It'll carry over into 2025, which is okay, but this is Games and Trials, you know, and that's right up my alley. I love Games and Trials. I love Hunger Games. I actually just finished rereading it back in October. So, and I'm currently reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I know I'm going to love this as well. So I cannot wait to get to this. Now we have a friend recommendation, and I actually texted my book bestie Haley because we have very similar taste. We both recommend each other books all the time, so I was like, okay, these are the books I know you read off of my physical TBR, now pick one. She was like, how dare you make me pick just one? I love them all. But she did end up picking Praised by Sarah Kate. She has been telling me to read this for a long time now. She's like, it's so good. Read it for the plot, you know. So I have full faith in her. I trust her, so I know I'm going to love this for the plot. Now we have a book over 400 pages, and there's actually one that I started and I put away because I was in a reading slump, but I want to pull back out and really just give it a fair chance because I knew if I was going to continue it in the reading slump, the rating I was going to give it wasn't going to be fair because I was spacing it out a lot. So we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Now, like I said, I did start this. I got about 11 chapters in, but I was really spacing it out and I wasn't getting fully immersed in the story. And I love Kai and Peyton. Yeah, I'm saying that right. I was calling her Peyton at first, so I love them both. And I just love the banter between them, the wittiness and everything. So I just wanted to give it a fair chance because I was spacing out the reading so much. I really just felt like I wasn't going to give it as good as a rating as it deserved to be. So now that I'm out of my reading slump, I'm going to carry it over to 2025 and really just sit down and devour this. I just know I'm going to love it. It's Games and Trials, Enemies to Lovers, and a lot of stuff has happened already in the first 11 chapters. And I also want to read it with Powerful as well, because I heard you can read those together. So I do want to do that as well. So, and I don't have Powerful, so I need to get it. The next prompt is a special edition, or just something special about your book. It could be a special edition, it could be exclusive edition, it could have sprayed edges, just something that makes it unique, special in a way. And I have The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. This has just been on my radar since I've heard about it. I heard about it on TikTok, and immediately I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds like a lot of fun. I really want to get into this. Another Games and Trials book, but this is with the Greek gods and everything, with Hades, Zeus, all that, and I just know this is going to be fun. It's a tournament to see who's going to rule for I don't know how long, but, and look at these sprayed edges. Oh my gosh. They do amazing with these sprayed edges. It's absolutely amazing, and we even have some art inside, so way to go, way to go. Okay, next we have a book with chapter titles. So this is just not like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It has to have names as like the chapter title. So I thought about this for a while, and actually I knew a book that had recently done this where I really liked it, and I have book 2 and book 3 sitting on my bookcase waiting for me. That is Nightbane by Alex Astor. I finished Lightlark back in October and I loved it. I gave it 4.25 stars. It was great. I almost read it in one sitting. It was that addicting. So I just know Nightbane is gonna be so good. They said like this is like the book for who did this to you, and I haven't gotten a lot of that. I know it's like a trope that a lot of people like, so I haven't gotten it a lot, so I'm very interested in how I'm going to feel about this. So, and I want to continue Graham's story, so I'm Team Graham. I'm sorry for the people who are Team Orr. Don't hate me. Okay, next is debut author, and they actually give you the option of doing a book by a debut author right now, or the author's debut like book. And I had a couple options, I think like 2 or 3 options for this, but ultimately I just knew one was like more on my radar and I've been wanting to get to, but I just haven't really picked it up. So now we're picking it up. So that's The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. So this is actually, you know, single dad, ex-nanny. She used to do some stuff, and he was a big fan of hers and everything. So I think this is just going to be like a cute romance book, kind of like a nice little like palette cleanser in between the heavy fantasy that I have going on with this 2025 TBR as well. So I think I'm really just gonna love this. I'm a sucker for a cute little romance story, so I just feel like this is just right up my alley. I'm going to devour this. I'm going to love it. I really have high hopes for this. I truly do. Next is a book with mental health representation, and actually as soon as I heard that, I knew exactly what book I wanted, because this book is actually one that I really want to get to, but I have to read the first book in the interconnected standalones in order to read the second one. And if you know, you know, and that is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Now I've heard that this deals with anxiety, and that this is like a great representation of that, and someone who suffers from anxiety, I'm excited for that. I am ready for that. I want to read it because a lot of people say it's done so well, and so I just want to experience this, and a lot of people love this book, so I just know I'm going to love it as well, and I'm just ready to get into it. But I have to read Part of Your World first before I can get to this. So Part of Your World is on my 10 before the end as well. It's going to carry over to 25, not on this challenge because this is, but that's going to motivate me to hurry up and read it. Next we have a book with a snake on the cover, because the Chinese New Year, it's the year of the snake, so I thought that was a really cool concept. So I actually felt so dumb because I was like, oh, I don't have a book with a snake on the cover at all. Like, what do I do? I literally sat here staring at all my books and I was like, oh no, I don't know what to do here. And then I found it. The Sinner's Duet by Sophie Lark. Oh my gosh, it's so perfect and everything. Now this is a Starker romance. It's a dark romance. I got this at a signing. It's both books and one. So it's just perfect to get 2 books out of the way. It really just does not, knowing there's 2 books in here just makes me feel so much better, you know? So I'm excited for this. I really don't know much else except for dark romance and a stalker. So this prompt was gonna be a self-published book, but I really didn't have one here, so we swapped it out. So we're doing another friend recommendation for it instead. So Haley was so happy to pick another book, so she chose The Deal by Elle Kennedy. She knows how much I love Icebreaker. She was like, if you liked Icebreaker, I really think that you're going to enjoy this. So I know this is fake dating, it's a hockey romance, and it's college as well, and I love a good college romance too. So I think this is just everything I love in a book, and I just haven't picked it up because I don't want to start a new series, but we're going to now. Next we have a new to you author, and so this is actually another series that I've just been wanting to get to. So, and I haven't read anything by this author before. Shatter Me by, I don't even know how to say that. I'm so sorry, but I know this is like just dystopian. This has a power of like can't touch people or they die, and I just know that you either love this series or you don't, so I just want to know where I stand. So this is one that I really want to get into pretty soon and dive into the entire series. I do plan on doing a reading vlog of this series when I do read it, so if that's something you'll be interested in, please stay around for that. Next we have a TBR vet, and this was pretty easy for me because I used to be a buy a book and read, and then I just started doing book hauls impulsively, and so books have started being pushed back. But this was actually one I was supposed to read next, and then I ended up buying other books and read different books. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is high fantasy. Magic system is around cards, and there's a monster in her head or something like that. So I really don't know anything besides that, but I heard that the magic system in this is like the coolest thing ever. So people highly recommend it. And the last prompt is a book from another challenge, and I am going to be doing a challenge in January, so I'm going to try my hardest to get this book on the TBR for that, because we don't really know what's going to go on there until I do it in January. We've got a Pain by Rena Kent, and I do have a specific prompt in that like challenge that I think this is going to go to. I think it's going to go to a different couple, but I have read God of Malice. I loved it. I need to move on. I have this entire series, so I just need to commit to it. I need to go through the entire series, honestly. So this has been on my TBR several times, and I just need to take the dive and go into it and stop putting it off, because I've been waiting for this couple's story and I was so excited for it, and I just never picked it up. Like, what? Thank you all so much for hanging out with me during this. If you liked being here today, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, and come back. We do have more videos planned. We have bookmas still going on. We have reading vlogs going on as well, future reading vlogs of series. So, and if you have any ideas, please leave them in the comment. I love hearing y'all's ideas for books as well, book videos, you know, bookmas, whatever y'all like. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you, and y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.